Hi, 10-4. I got 90-11 on. One shot, consider it hot.
10-4, Mr. Weaver, consider it hot.
I got a fuse on fire.
Consider it hot.
10-4.
All right, 10-4, 743. Consider it hot.
10, well.
Consider it hot. Consider it hot.
You guys do it.
10-4,
Consider it hot.
consider it hot.
Consider it hot. Consider it hot.
Welcome to June. Leigh, it is June. Welcome to the June edition of the Consider It Hot podcast from TVEC. Welcome back. This little monthly excursion into co-op land.
Yep.
So we've got a list here. Electricity, safety, savings, and stories. That's nice, Leigh. Leigh wrote that stuff. It's good stuff. How you doing?
I am doing pretty good. If you're listening to this, of course, it is June, which means that we did not have a May like we did last year with the storm of last year. So that is a blessing.
We did. We had a few storms last week, the last week of May, but nothing like the craziness of last year. I know the crews were out a bit and taking care of the business, but here we are.
Yep. This episode's packed with some practical tips, storm prep reminders, and then a few fun things too. Plus, don't miss your shot for a bill credit just by reading your Texas Co-op Power magazine.
Right. And we're joined in a few minutes by Phillip Smith, our government affairs coordinator, to talk about, well, one thing that happened over the last couple of months down in Austin. And if anybody saw the stuff on social media about Voices for Cooperative Power and what that was all about, we will find out in person. What do we have in the blinks today, Leigh?
Well, for the first one is that offices are going to be closed on June 19th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. That's going to be for employee training. So just note that on that date, we will be shutting down early and crews will be on call for outages or emergencies.
Of course. And I think most, at least government offices, will be closed as well for Juneteenth, and that's going to be going on. So hopefully that will be a good timing for that to be taking place. But it just gets everybody on the same page in the member services department. I know they are going to do some training. That's going to be awesome.
Something else that we've got going on, this is not till October though, October 16th to be exact, is our membership annual meeting for our members.
Yes.
Happens every year.
We love the annual meeting.
It's in Canton. It's a great time for all members to come. There's a little special thing going on this year, which is the board election. Do you want to talk about that? And then I'll get into the fun stuff.
Right. Well, are you saying the board election is not fun? It's part of what makes a co-op awesome.
That is so true. You're right.
But it is an election. So what do? If you look in your June Texas Co-op Power magazine, there is the notice of the board election, which takes place alongside our annual meeting. Just like last year, there will be online voting and there will be voting by mail. So look for your September Texas Co-op Power magazine to vote. First off, we have to determine candidates. And if you look in the magazine, you will find how to, if you want to be a candidate, there are 3 board districts up for election this year. District 2, kind of up between Kaufman and Canton, and you just have to look at the map. Your board district is also on your bill. District 6, a little bit further south and east, and then District 7, the very south part of our service area, down from Palestine up to Frankston and up to Athens almost. That's all in the magazine. Take a look at that. That is a unique property of co-ops. We are governed by an elected board of members, so check that out for sure.
Remind me, what kind of things can members win for voting?
Oh, that's right. There are prizes for participation. We do need votes in order to conduct the election and to conduct our annual meeting. That's our quorum count as well. So there are $2,000 in cash prizes.
Wow.
$1,000 being the top prize, and then a $500 prize and 2 $250 prizes. That's the way we handle that. You don't have to be present at the annual meeting to win, although we would like to see you. But voting gets you into that drawing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And they should come to the annual meeting, of course, too, because for the second time, we are going to have the Watts Cooking member recipe book.
Sure.
Submissions for those are open, and they're going through July 14th. That's Monday, July 14th. So be sure to submit your recipe if you're a current member. It's going to be distributed to everyone that comes to the annual meeting, but also if you submit a recipe, you get a copy as well.
Right.
There's different ways you can submit your recipes. You can check those all out on our website. And then if you need any help, you can contact us, of course. We are here to help, and we are so excited to be sharing that Home Country Phil cookbook that is going to be going out this year.
We are also available for sample tasting of those recipes.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
But speaking of voting, I think we could maybe introduce, because, Phillip probably has dealt with some voting in his day.
I'm sure he has. He has been in some political offices that he's worked in before working here. So let's go talk to Phillip about Voices for Cooperative Power and the session down in Austin and what that means for co-op members. All right. Welcome, Phillip Smith, Government Relations Coordinator. That's an interesting title.
It is.
You do a lot with local government folks, but
Yes.
we're here to talk about. So give us an overview of what you've got going on in TVEC world as far as government relations go.
Well, currently right now, Dawn, it is an extremely busy time. If you're in the state of Texas, the legislature is meeting,
Right.
which thankfully they will be done next week. Not sure of any special session or anything like that. Haven't heard any whispers, but so the spring was extremely busy, and it really gets busier April and May through the end of session.
Okay. And then what do you do on a local level, just so folks know what you do for the co-op?
Sure. On the local level, we have a lot of agreements with cities that we may provide service to members in the city limits. And so we have franchise agreements with those cities. And so there's a lot of conversations that take place around those. We also, just from a day-to-day perspective, roadways get expanded. We have to move utility lines, poles. So there's a lot of conversations that have to take place, and we do those things. And we also get out in the county. We do work well with our commissioners and all the counties too. We cross roadways. Sometimes we may be in the right of way. Other times we're not. But especially just working with them on various things from vegetation management, work that's being done, permitted, and things like that. And right now, a lot of the broadband attachments that are going on out there. So the last couple of years, a lot of conversations more that are had on those areas.
And a lot of growth.
Yes. Yes.
Population growth means a lot more
Activity.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Well, a couple of weeks ago, or it's almost a month ago now, we sent out a lot of communications regarding the session. We were just talking about the session in Austin, and a particular set of bills that affected TVEC members and really co-op members across the state, to the extent that we were promoting Voices for Cooperative Power, which might be new to a lot of people, or it's a fairly new organization, a couple of years old, I think. Is that right?
That's right. That's right.
So give us the lowdown on what Voices for Cooperative Power is and why we were promoting that in regards to this particular session. That's a big question, but it all goes together.
Yeah. I may have to ask you to repeat some of that.
That's all right.
No. Well, Voices for Cooperative Power, VCP, is a grassroots kind of organization arm of our national organization, National Rural Electric Cooperative Association.
Yep.
And so it asks members, employees, frankly, in general, you wouldn't even have to be a member of a co-op, but across the country, sign up, give us your email address. We'll let you know when there's big items that are coming up. There's federally or in this case in the state. And so this was the first time that it had been activated, so to speak, in Texas because of the issue that you're referring to. So the national organization, we had several meetings with them and the co-ops around the state. How can this help us? We had several thousand, tens of thousands of members in Texas that were already signed up for VCP. And so we were going to contact those members. And so the end goal is for our legislators to hear from our members on issues that are important to them or that they deem harmful or good.
And so what were those issues this time around? What rose to that level?
So what rose to that level this time around was legislation dealing with attachments, pole attachments from the broadband cable industry. And that legislation, that particular legislation that we had sent messages out about, and asking folks to email and speak to their representatives, was very harmful to co-ops in the way of the agreement, how it was written, the formula, the rate by which they pay a lease to be on the pole, would essentially be harmful to our members. It would have cost our members a lot of money. So we're definitely supportive of broadband. We know we've seen it being deployed across our territory now for the last few years.
It's available on my road now.
It is, and I have it at my home too. So very thankful for it. But we want to make sure that our members are protected, their property rights are protected,
Right.
And that we're not paying for those attachments for corporations that are profit driven. Was essentially, the bottom line. And
so there's that side of it. Basically, a lot of those poles are having to be replaced. If people out in the territory are seeing that, I'm sure.
Yes.
That costs. That has to be paid for.
That cost has to be paid for, and we just like for them to share their portion of that cost.
Right,
now,
there's also an ongoing cost. I think it's interesting to me anyway, maybe not anybody else. Like having that extra attachment on the pole not only requires a higher grade, I guess, of pole
correct,
that has to be maintained, and it does increase or probably shorten the lifespan of the pole, or at least require more upkeep.
That's right.
There's a ongoing cost that does need to be paid.
Right. And just so our members understand too, it's not just a process that we're going to go down this county road or these lines and we're going to attach. There's a thorough process that evaluates, inspects every one of those poles from an engineering perspective. Is it going to add certain facilities that pole cannot hold?
Right.
Like you said, so it may need to be upgraded, a higher quality, a stronger, taller, more cross arms, more guy wires, so each individual attachment, there's a thorough process that's gone through engineering. It's gone through a set of specifications for that attacher to access that pole. Yeah. And so we just wanted to make sure they were following those specifications. We're not left with, violations from clearance, which is a big one. And when you get out in the rural parts of the area, that's extremely important. And also that pole's gonna be able to withstand time and weather and all the things that go into, what our engineers and those folks over there have looked at. And there's specific national standards. So just want to make sure they're following each one of those.
So what was the property rights angle on these bills? I know there was something else to do with how they access the actual right of way, or how'd that work?
That's right. And so the easement that our member may have.
Okay.
That's right. The easement that the members may have, that we have with them to provide their electric service. This legislation was going to give attachers unrestricted access.
Oh.
And that's an important part of, how we have our relationship with our members. They've given us permission. We have an easement to be on their property to work on those lines. Those easements have been in place for years, or if you're a new member and there's a process, but so they should have to come to you and ask. They should ask for permission. They shouldn't have just carte blanche, undiscriminatory access to members' property. To make those attachments. And so that's what they're asking. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Property rights is a big deal, in Texas, and so we want to protect that and preserve that, without giving them just carte blanche permission.
Okay. Well, it looks like the, cooler heads prevailed, I guess it were. Voices for Cooperative Power action there. I know I called to my representative over there is Brent Money, and I got a call back from his office that they had received my call through that process, and it was super simple. But what's the result there, and how are things looking now?
Yeah, no, good segue. It was actually very good results, and thank you to everyone who took part in that. If you don't think those things work, they do. So 2 weeks ago, that particular bill that we were aimed at was getting closer to being on the floor. In fact, it was on the floor. So I was down there a couple weeks ago with a number of other cooperative personnel from around the state, and we visited each one of our representatives, senators, reps. And so, the feedback that I got was, hey, we heard you. And, we received 100+ letters from one. And they heard, they understood that this was something that they needed to be thoughtful about and ask the opinion. And so if you don't think those things make a difference, they do. I had the anecdotal evidence from our legislators that were thanking us. So take the time to do that. Pick up the phone, send an email. That's how things get changed. And so actually, yes, the outcome was very good. That particular bill was pulled down within a matter of hours from a timeline that House bill needed to be passed. And so it was postponed. We know we got a lot to work for in the next year and a half until the next session, and that was made clear by the author of the bill. So we'll sit down many times over the next year and a half with our other co-ops around the state and our representatives, and make sure that we can come together on something that's agreeable and that doesn't harm our members. And that's the result that we need out here, and that's what we'll work for.
All right. And then just one more plug for Voices for Cooperative Power. If you want to be a part of that, you can visit our website. There's a link, tvec.net. And then, the federal, national level issues that they, on their site, things like just energy policy, some of the renewable stuff, the things that the federal government does affects us in a lot of ways as well. So
absolutely,
it's good to stay informed on that.
That's right. So thank you for those that have signed up, and if you haven't, go do it.
All right. And then, when we put stuff out in the future, I know we'll be adding some things in the magazine or wherever else to let people know what's going on that can affect them or their bills.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Phillip.
Thank you, Don.
Well, it was good to talk to Phillip about that political stuff. That's really not all that much fun most of the time, but it does affect our lives and our pocketbooks and everything else that we do. So I appreciate him stopping by to talk about that. How about something a little better and more positive? Looks like you have a note here about TVEC scholarships.
Yes, so it's official. This year, we were able to award 75 students with scholarships, which included 22 schools, several private and homeschool students also, but in total, $44,000 we were able to give out.
That is great.
Yes, and I do just want to clarify something, because a lot of times people wonder, where do these dollars come from? How do we pay for these scholarships? Well, they actually come from something called an S-sheet fund, and in layman's terms, which is what I had to look this up as to really understand it, is that when a member moves away or closes an account, we can't reach them to return their capital credits. Those unclaimed funds eventually go to the state of Texas. Right. But the good news is that TVEC applies to get those funds back. And when we do, we put them back to work in our community through things like scholarships.
It sounds complicated, and it kind of is. Uh-huh. But yeah, those the S-sheet funds are unclaimed money, essentially. Mm-hmm. Now, if you go to claimittexas.org, you can always go and see if you have unclaimed money.
That's right.
And if you find out that you or a family member, maybe a deceased family member, had capital credits that were never claimed, those can always be claimed. That's listed there. Once, it goes into the S-sheet funds, it's not like it disappears off the planet. And there are some very limited things that you can do with that S-sheet money involving scholarships and efficiency programs and some other things. But, that's where that scholarship money comes from. It's Interesting.
So it doesn't come from your electric bill.
Right.
There's no additional cost to members.
Right.
It's not from Operation Roundup funds. And you're helping students chase their dreams just by being a co-op member.
Thanks for clarifying that. I know that comes up every year when we talk about scholarships. You know what else starts up in June, which is in the magazine?
Tell me.
We have to put the hurricane information page into the magazine. And we are actually required to do that because the state of Texas wants you to know it is that time of year. Hurricanes come up, and you think, why, if I'm sitting up here in Forney or Kaufman or Canton, why do I need to know anything about hurricane preparedness? That's a really good question.
It really is, because I even kind of wondered. So prior to working here, I was like, why are we getting information? There's so many more relevant things. Maybe they should send out tornado preparation here in Texas. But
absolutely, that too. Well, we serve areas all the way down to Palestine.
That's right.
And Palestine isn't that far from the coast. If you remember last year, Hurricane Helene, when it came up through Florida and Georgia and all the way up to South Carolina, the damage that far north was still incredible, as some of our crews found out. And so we put that information out on purpose, and we hope people pay attention to be ready. Even though we are quite a ways inland, we can be affected not only by the weather and the after effects. You know, it may not be a hurricane by the time it gets here, but it can still be tropical storm force, dump a lot of rain, and we have to be ready for an influx of people as well if people are trying to get out of the way of the hurricane. So that's why that's in there, and we hope everybody takes note that June to November, it is hurricane season.
Thank you for that. But I've also got some other clarification things that I need.
Oh, clarifications, you say?
I do. So June is Father's Day.
Oh, right. That is coming up. I'm looking forward to probably, probably not much.
It's June 16th.
Uh-huh.
And we're gonna have a little fun with this, okay? So
go for it.
Growing up, we all hear the typical sayings that our dads tell us about saving energy. However, we didn't know that we were saving energy when they were telling us these things. We just thought they were being dads.
Right.
So I'm going to say things that maybe myself, some of you out there have heard, and then can you maybe tell me what it means?
I can try, because I am a dad, a bit of an old dad, 3 kids though, and I do feel like I am in my dad era.
Dad era, nice.
Where I can say the dad things. So bring it on.
All right. First one's up. Close that fridge. You're letting all the cold out.
Yes. So when you watch someone stand with the refrigerator door open for an extended period of time, it feels like your soul is being sucked out with the cold air. And so it does get a little bit, I would say, heated inside. It's like, I'm not yelling about the fridge, but I'm trying to let the kids know that it's very important. Cold air falls. If you stand, okay, this is way too much explanation right here. If you stand in front of the refrigerator without shoes on and open it, feel the cold air drop onto your feet.
Okay.
All of that has to be, or is being refilled with warmer air at the top. And it takes energy, i.e. dollars, to cool that back down. So anyway, I'll get off that soapbox.
My fridge beeps at me, so.
Nice.
And that'll make you close it real quick.
So that's for people whose dads aren't there.
Yeah, and my dad's not there, nor is yours, right?
No.
So.
No, I have stepped into the gap.
It's okay. We have a lot of really, really great mentors and stuff around here we can look to, but I'll just keep looking to you for these dadisms.
Okay.
All right. So close the front door. We're not air conditioning the whole neighborhood.
It's true. All that's true. Just like the refrigerator, the whole house is, in a sense, a refrigerator in the summertime.
That's
when you
true.
think about it.
That is so true.
And so everything that's leaking out is being paid for to cool the warmer air back in. And seals around the doors and windows are big. But if you're standing there with the door open, that's just wasting energy. So, yeah. And
letting bugs in, potentially.
Well, that's very possible as well. The mosquitoes right now are killing me.
All right. Turn off the lights when you leave a room.
I prefer the other version of this saying, which is,
let's hear it.
Which is, Why are we turning on every light in the house? There's nobody in there. Okay, so there's a country song, Every Light in the House is On.
That's a great song.
That is not an energy efficient song at all. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason to light up the room if you're not in there. Now, if you're my 3-year-old, you want all the lights on all the time because it's scary in the dark. I get it, but turn the lights off, please.
Maybe we need to do a rendition of how much energy that guy used when he left every light in his house on, waiting for that girl to come back.
Hey, the front walk looks like runway lights. That's a lot of light.
It is. All right. What about this one? And you may say it another way, but I've always heard, don't touch that thermostat.
Thankfully, technology has come to the rescue on this thing, and I don't have to tell my kids that because they pretty much don't touch it anyway. I have all the control on my phone.
True.
And so I don't have to use this one, but it's true. If you don't have an automated thermostat, then it's a good investment. And then if you hook it up to your Wi-Fi, you have all the control and you can lock them out. So, thermostat has all the power in the world to save you money. It's setting that 78 degrees in the summer. Okay, that seems like it's warm. True, it can. I wouldn't say take off clothes. That doesn't sound right. But
use those fans.
Use the fans and just adjust. Your body will adjust. Your mind will adjust. And yeah, save some dollars.
There you go. So this is in reference to things like maintenance of appliances and such, but I've always heard it's not broken. You're just not using it right.
It's not broken. Well, I think in this case, especially when it's the kids and they don't have skills yet. So yeah, if you are trying to use, for example, the wrong screwdriver, I've had this problem, or people using the wrong wrench. The problem isn't the tool. It may not even be the thing you're trying to fix. It could be you just need to ask Dad first.
Okay.
And so I appreciate when the kids are very proactive and want to do something, but they need to know when they're over their head before they break something worse.
All right. So a good Father's Day gift is maybe a programmable thermostat and a beeping refrigerator.
Sure.
All right.
A beeping refrigerator.
So
what kind of beeping refrigerator? Never mind.
All right. So this one I actually am going to add in here because I had always heard we have food at home, which is not exactly energy related. So I'm going to be a dad for a second because cooking at home more often can reduce fuel from extra trips and let you control how energy is used, like using microwaves or air fryers over ovens for small meals. So get an old McDonald's fry thing, make some fries in your air fryer, put them in the McDonald's container, and tell your kid that it's from McDonald's.
Wow.
Just kidding. I'm not condoning lying. All I'm doing is condoning saving energy.
I'm not sure
Stay with us.
I'm not sure they'd be fooled, but I do like the meme on the internet. We've got whatever at home, and whatever's at home is the subpar version.
Oh, right.
Like, that's pretty hilarious. But yeah, I mean, we do have food at home. And if you keep the refrigerator nice and cool and don't open it all the time, then the food stays good.
That's true. So we're kind of talking about staying cool. And the next thing that we talk about here is directly from our energy management supervisor, Chris Walker. He takes on the task of breaking energy myths. Do you want to go over a couple of those and what you can find in that article?
Sure, yeah. In the June magazine, energy myths is Chris's topic, as you said. And there's going to be some AC replacements going on soon, right? It's summertime. Stress is on for the AC units if they are getting aged or getting, let's say they haven't been maintained well. It may be time for a new one. Do your research, because even if you are hiring a pro to bring in a new AC unit, make sure it's sized correctly for your home. Don't buy one that's maybe just the special that they're selling, because it could be sized too large or too small. Too large is actually a bad thing. And so, yeah, that's an interesting thing that you just would want more power, but that's not necessarily a good thing. As we talked about before too, the fans should definitely be on in the summer and the winter. There's some interesting ways you do that. And if you haven't flipped your fan to blow the right direction for summertime, now's the time to do that. And then I like to think about cold water washing for clothes. I think most people understand there's reasons to do that for shrinkage and some other things. But cold water washing is much more energy efficient because, did you know, heating the water for a laundry load can cost as much or more than running the machine itself.
So you're using energy by washing clothes, and then you're using more energy by heating up the water that could clean those clothes with cold water just the same, unless it's extremely soiled, correct?
Right. Modern, well, and depends on the type of fabric, I think, but the modern cold water laundry detergent is perfectly fine. And a lot of washing machines have automatic settings to, if it's too cold, they will put in just enough hot water to make it right.
Yeah, and try to do those between non-peak hours.
Absolutely. That actually saves everybody money.
We're also going to be throwing in some love for Laundry Day in that June issue. Just telling you to clean that lint filter out. This is for fire safety purposes, but also for energy efficiency. Vacuum the dryer chute, replace water hoses every 5 years. And even if they look fine, they may not be. Get those checked. It's simple maintenance, and it can prevent costly damage.
Yeah, if it's taking more than one run through the dryer for your dryer to get the clothes where you want them, there is probably a problem in your vent.
I saw something the other day, and someone said that if you put a dry towel in with your clothes, it's supposed to dry your clothes faster. And some girl did it on a video on Facebook, and she said, I put a dry towel in there, and all it did was not dry my clothes, but now that towel is also wet. So
yeah, I'm not sure how that would.
That should have been an energy myth.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how that would have worked because, okay, well, I don't know. It looks like we don't have an Operation Roundup guest this month, but there is an article in the magazine about Operation Roundup and how members' donations through Operation Roundup have impacted veteran services. In particular, if you listen to the last episode of this podcast, we talked to Robert Hunter, the Kaufman Veterans Service Officer. But in the magazine, you'll find a bit about the impact that your donations have on veterans organizations, including more than $70,000 since 2013 going to those causes. And it's a really neat thing. It's something we feel strongly about here, of course, at the co-op and in general. So thank you for your donations in that regard. We like to do those. It's the most fun I think I have is going out on Operation Roundup grants and just seeing what great things people do in our community. It really is awesome. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, I meant to. I was actually thinking about Robert the other day because it was Memorial Day and the weather was not great. And I was wondering if they still had their celebration because he said they have it at 11 o'clock on Memorial Day every year. So I need to go look and check that out. Maybe we can direct members there too if they want to check out the Memorial Park.
Yep, it's a neat thing they've got out there. And with that helicopter we talked about last month, good stuff.
Yep. So you had to take a car, not a helicopter. It's a lineman lunch of the month. Where did you go this last month, Don?
Right. I went, we office here in Kaufman, and I went literally blocks away to Kaufman Burger, which is...
You went twice though, right? Because you went the first time.
Well, I had to go back and take a picture. Kaufman Burger has been around quite a while here in town, and they are known for...
Their burgers?
Really good. Really good burgers, actually. It's... they're also very well known for the fries. It's got like a salt and pepper blend, hand-cut fry business going on there. Freshly made when you order it. Very, very good. Chad Marshall, our safety manager, safety and loss control manager, that is, loves a big bacon double cheeseburger and fries. And so that is really good stuff. If you haven't been by Kaufman Burger, it's a little hard to find, actually. It's right on the main drag through town, but... the signage makes it a hole in the wall, I guess, because you don't really see it unless you know it's there.
It's one of those word of mouth kind of places, right?
Yeah, basically you can take your car for an oil change on one side of the street, walk across, and eat lunch while they change your oil. That's my favorite tactic. Sounds
like a power lunch to me.
It is. It's a good burger. Go visit. And yeah, thanks, Chad, for recommending that one. That was a really good burger. And summertime is full of all the fun summertime things. And you know what happens in summer? This very month, we've got some youth headed out of town on a couple of trips. If everybody remembers Youth Tour and the new project E-Trees. Tell us about that, Leigh.
Yeah, let's start with Youth Tour, one that people may be a little bit more familiar with. We call it the Trip of a Lifetime. Every June, we choose high school students. Well, we don't choose them. They are chosen to, they submit applications. They head to Washington, D.C. They get a week of history, leadership, and connection. They get to meet lawmakers. They tour monuments, bond with other future leaders from around the country. A lot of them, from what I know, remain friends for many, many years to come after that trip. So
Definitely.
we went along last year when they went. We shared what kind of things they were doing, and then we shared photos afterwards. So be on the lookout for that in June and possibly early July, so we can wrap those up as we show what those kiddos did. And I'm hoping we can get them on our podcast to talk about it.
Right. They'll be leaving here in just a couple of weeks, I think. And then what is eTrees?
So that's a little closer to home. This is the first year that Trinity Valley Electric Cooperative is participating. We're so excited about it. It's the East Texas Rural Electric Youth Seminar. It's a leadership development camp. It has motivational speakers. It's all set over at East Texas Baptist University. These programs are part of our commitment to education, empowerment, and building the next generation of community leaders. So, hey, folks out there, thank you for allowing your students to apply. They are in great hands. They're going to be learning a lot, and you can learn a lot at tvec.net. Encourage a student to apply next year, because these trips don't just build resumes. These trips don't just build resumes. They build character, confidence, and lifelong connections.
Yeah, it really is a neat program. And coming up in the fall, be on the lookout for those applications.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like we end applications, they're selected, and by the time it's all said and done, we're opening applications back up, because it is a process.
Yep. And we love it. Those kids, seeing those kids kind of blossom, I guess. No, that doesn't sound right. Seeing those kids kind of grow up on the course of a week, it's really neat.
It really is.
I'm waiting for my kids to get old enough to apply. It's not just because I want them gone for a week, really.
Sure. It's one way to save energy.
Nice. Okay. Right of Way Professionals Week is coming up. That is cool.
That is an important week. It's so important.
We probably should give them a lot more credit than we do, actually. This is the tree trimmers, right?
It is. It really is. And I kind of also think back to where we've shared about just being safe whenever you see utility crews working, because that's your right-of-way crews as well.
Yep. They are out and about on the side of the road, trimming those trees back. Trees are one of the, if not the largest or most numerous cause of outages. Those limbs and trees can fall a very long way. We've got our easements that we keep up, and the better we are able to do that, the better that is for reliability. And they are out there working just like the line crews. They're out there hot and cold, rain and shine. And when the big storms do come and knock down a lot of trees, they have a lot of work to do, a lot of heavy lifting before the power lines can even go back in. So we would be definitely in a world of hurt without the tree professionals and the way they take care of business all the time.
Yeah, so I thought about it. It's when our linemen can't safely reach those lines, it would potentially make outages last longer. So you think about the hurricane season. So maybe this is one of those prep things that we are giving that notice, because take a look at those trees. Let's see if we can maybe prevent instead of worse. Being
proactive. And we have a very proactive tree trimming program. Spend a lot of effort and budget on that effort, because trees do cause so much problem. And just be careful out there. Watch out for those guys on the roads, and know that they are doing good work. And yes, I love my trees. I know everybody loves their trees, but trees and power lines don't mix. And where there's a right of way for the power lines to go through, we do need to maintain that and keep everybody's lights on.
I'm going to ask this for the members.
Okay.
So we have contractors that do this work.
Absolutely.
So they may see a truck that's performing maintenance that may not necessarily be a TVEC truck, but we have our contractors on our website.
Right. They are listed. That's true. So if you see somebody out there claiming they are clearing right away for TVEC, they probably are. But if you want to check, those contractors are listed on the website. And if you have any questions, sometimes stuff comes up where if you have a question or a concern about that, certainly contact us and we will see what we can do. But it is a great thing that they do. They do a lot of really hard work for us.
Yes, that is true. What's not hard work, though, is reading your magazine.
You say that.
Well, it may be hard to find your hidden account number, but it's worth it.
Right. The hidden account number, money.
It's yours. You can call us by June 30th and score a $100 bill credit. Easy win if you find your account number somewhere in your June Texas Co-op Power magazine.
You know, I was just thinking about this. The likelihood, the odds of winning that one have gone down or gone down since I've started working here. Because when I started making the magazine, our part of the magazine in 2016, we only had about 50,000 members. Now we're well over 60,000 members. So your chance is one in 60,000. Still better than the lottery.
Not to deter you.
No, sorry. No, there is a chance for $100 bill credits. You know, there's another chance for a $100 bill credit in there as well.
Let's hear it.
The energy quiz.
That's right, the energy quiz.
Simply by answering I'm not going to say they're easy answers, easy questions, but
Googleable.
Yeah, there's usually a pretty simple solution. I'm just saying, we're not out to fool anybody. We're out to educate. So, find the energy quiz, answer that, and you could win $100.
I forgot to mention earlier, too, that we will be giving out 3 prizes for those who submit a recipe to our recipe book for this year. So
those are prizes, too. Yeah.
More ways to win. And I think, I remember you telling me that we had some winners in the June magazine?
Right. And I don't know that they won, there weren't money winners or anything, but there are sure winners from TVEC in the magazine. There is a photo, a really cool beach photo that somebody was clever. I'll just say, go look in the photo section of the magazine. It looked like she placed her camera in a heart hole in the sand. And then so that made a little vignette around for the family looking back at the camera. Very clever and cool. As a photographer, I like fun stuff like that. Good job. And then we also had someone get a recipe into the recipe section of the magazine. So good job.
So we're going to be taking a beach trip this year, and I'm just trying to think about how I can get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us into a heart photo. So I might reach out to her to see some tips.
You have to see how deep was the hole.
Right.
What kind of camera? Did it get sand in your phone? Was it a phone camera? All the details. Okay. Well, there's a lot of other good content in the magazine as well. Pick up your Texas Co-op Power. There are goats on the front of this one. Have you ever rented a goat to do your yard?
I have not.
I have a lot of poison ivy out around ours, so it's very tempting to get a goat. But then I know people who've had goats, and having goats might be worse than having poison ivy. I'm not sure. A lot of maintenance on either side there. Companies like Rent a Ruminant are getting goats to work across Texas. That is just great. Some other great stuff in there.
Goat for rent.
Goat rentals. Another story about a steel mill, Lone Star Steel. The legacy of the Lone Star Steel plant lives on thanks to a group of volunteers. You don't think about Texas and the steel industry a whole lot, but there is some history there. There's Amazing Grace Danforth, the story of a female doctor and suffragette, who made a lasting impact in Texas before her untimely death. That's like a mystery. Sounds like a mystery setup. So go read that article. Then, of course, there are all kinds of energy tips. There are lots of good recipes, including one TVEC member recipe. And just all kinds of great information in there. So pick up the magazine. Come visit us on the website. The magazine is available on the website, tvec.net. And have a great month, everybody.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in July. See ya.